In this installment, Paul Hancock is being interviewed by Melissa McBain, discussing advancing funds in the face of liens.
Paul, as a construction lien lawyer, are there any pitfalls you have found owners fall into that could easily be avoided?
Definitely, Melissa. I think one issue that will catch owners off guard from time to time is that making payments to subtrades and suppliers prior to a lien being vacated will increase an owner's liability.
How does that happen?
Well, in Ontario, an owner is only liable to subtrades and suppliers for the 10% holdback, being 10% of the value of all the work performed on a project, until the owner receives written notice of a claim for lien. After the owner receives written notice of a claim for lien, the owner has to retain not only the 10% holdback, but the full value of the claim for lien before making a payment. For example, if the 10% holdback is $100,000 and a lien is registered for $100,000, the owner has to retain $200,000. An owner could release any amount owed to the trade above $200,000, but if the owner does so prior to the lien being vacated, the lien claimants would then be entitled to $200,000 from the owner instead of the basic 10% holdback of $100,000. So the key is, after a lien is vacated from title, an owner can continue to make payments without increasing its liability. It's only before the lien is vacated where this pitfall occurs. Occasionally what happens is that an owner is in a rush to get the project completed, so it might pay the contractor and trades before vacating a lien. When that happens, every payment made before a lien is vacated increases the owner's liability to any potential lien claimants. Meaning, if the owner paid a trade $1 million before a lien was vacated, the owner's liability to any lien claimants would be the holdback plus a further $1 million.
So how could an owner continue a project while a lien is on title and not increase its liability?
The project can continue as long as funds don't flow prior to the lien being vacated. There is a famous Ontario decision where a developer ran out of money and more than a dozen liens totaling $800,000 were registered against title to the project. In that case, the mortgagees had to step in and complete the remaining townhomes to mitigate their losses and maximize recovery. The mortgagees forwarded funds to council, then arranged for a trade to perform $300,000 worth of work, and finally, after the work was done, vacated the liens. At trial, the forwarding of funds by the mortgagees was found to be an advance, increasing the mortgagee's exposure from the basic holdback of approximately $400,000 to the full value of the liens, which was $800,000. Having a trade perform $300,000 worth of work before the liens were vacated was also found to increase the mortgagee's exposure by $300,000. The decision was reversed on appeal. The appeal court held that funds delivered in escrow for the sole purpose of vacating liens were not an advance that would increase liability under the Construction Act. And the appeal court held that subsequent payments to a trade for work done prior to the liens being vacated did not increase liability under the Construction Act. Meaning, as long as funds are being advanced only for the purpose of vacating liens, and payment doesn't flow to trades until after the liens are vacated, trades can continue to work on a project.
That was quite the story. What steps should an owner take to avoid increasing its liability?
Owners should keep detailed records of when funds are released to trades, so they can avoid a situation where a lien claimant alleges that funds were released after an owner had written notice of a lien. Once an owner becomes aware of a claim for lien, it should immediately contact its bookkeeper or accounting department to make sure no further payments are sent out. Then, it should promptly take steps to vacate the lien to avoid any potential argument that the owner increased its exposure.
That's great advice. Thanks, Paul.
That was Paul Hancock in conversation with Melissa McBain discussing advancing funds in the face of liens. If you would like to learn more, contact Paul on our website, dv-law.com.
This audio recording was a general discussion and should not be relied upon as legal advice.